Welcome to the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. I bring over 40 years experience in comic books and entertainment across 5 decades. I offer insights and opinions on the business and the art of comic books and pop culture. If it's happening in games, in movies, in streaming, or comic books, we're covering it right here on the Robservations Show. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. We are on Apple, we are on Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. We have made the jump to video, and we're not sure how we feel about it just yet, but here we are. We're doing it, and you're doing it with us, and we couldn't be more excited to this show with you guys. We are in the second part of our Comic-Con episode, and we're going to jump right into that. For those of you who don't know, Robservations, the Rob Liefeld Show, it's a pop culture comic book conversation show where we talk about all the cool stuff going on in the world of comic books and in the world of pop culture. And we try and keep it somewhat topical, but also there are memories and a history that I try to bring to you guys. Not only of myself professionally for 40 years in the comic book business, writing, drawing, creating, producing, printing. Yes, printing. I now make regular trips to the printer to show you these books that I'm going to get to just in a second here. I've been doing this for 40 years. I literally was hired at 18 years of old. 18 years of old. I was hired at 18 years old, 18 years of age, and I never looked back. Sometimes I think back and I go, how was it that I was able to put it all together that young? But from about 16 to 18, I realized, like, once I graduated high school, I had never shown any interest whatsoever in being anything other than a comic book artist. I would have probably been a gas station attendant selling you your microwave burrito and your Doritos, and that's a great living. I love the people that I talk to at my local gas station. If you've seen me on live streams, you know that often Wednesdays are the time of day that before the show, and I need some energy, and our Joy and I, we eat out a lot, and we don't have a lot of stuff left over. Once the kids left the house, of which they all did, and they all live separately. We don't have a whole lot of like leftovers because there's not people to cook for. Like any great mom, Joy rises to the occasion to cook for her family. But for me, I'm like, hey, where are we going? I want to eat out all the time, and we're not exactly big leftover doggy bag people. So on a Wednesday, if it's a live stream in an hour, the fastest route to me and some decent, I'm gonna stop the line at decent food, is the local gas station. Okay, and man. You know, well, what don't they have? What doesn't the gas station have now? It has pizza. It has hamburgers. It has cheeseburgers. It has hot dogs. It has bratwurst. The brats, honestly, if you can get there and they have the brats are the highest recommendation. They got enchiladas. They got enchiladas. They got burritos. They got chicken nuggets, okay? That's the lowest. I have yet to have a good gas station chicken nugget. If you had one, please share it with the show. But I would have been that guy. They know me there. I'm really happy. And if you haven't had the Doritos pickle chips, what are you doing with your life? Doritos last summer. I'm sorry you have to live through this with me. Doritos last summer did a bunch of test kitchen items, test chips. And one day in early August, I stumbled into the gas station and I'm like, "What's this green bag of Doritos? It's pickle chip flavor." That chip and that tangy, delicious spice seasoning hit my tongue. Whoa, it's like it melted into my tongue. Simultaneous. What? It was amazing. And I may have spent the next 3 weeks looking for follow-up bags. Did Joy, my beautiful wife, did she go to every Walmart, Target, and gas station in Orange County? I'm like, we're pulling in. Nothing. I almost believed that the pickle, the tangy pickle Dorito chip was a fallacy. And then many of you guys know a gentleman named Dave Hong. He does all my live streams with me. Our live streams mainly are on Whatnot. You should follow me on Whatnot, Rob Liefeld on Whatnot. Catch me there. You'll be notified when I go live with all my shows. But Key Collectibles is his handle. You guys know him because he is literally the best shipper in the game. He also does all the CGC stuff. Get you guys incredible grades. Ships your books on time. All the stuff that we offer. He said, Rob, he walked in the door. He said, I got a surprise for you. He had 4 bags of the tangy pickle. This is like in September, 2 months after my love affair with the pickle chip. See what we're talking about gas stations gets us? I guess they went over really well because people, the tangy pickle Dorito is everywhere now. It made it through. I think it tested probably the highest. People like me were buying them up. Got back to the lab. Doritos turned on the pickle seasoning. They poured it on the chips. And now it's a regular thing. My cupboards have quite a few of the tangy pickle at all time. Okay, now you're like, well, Liefeld, what about the Reese's Big Cup? Also available in my refrigerator. But man shall not live by tangy pickle Doritos and peanut butter cups alone. So you got to make that quick dash to the gas station. And if you have had some gas station food, come on, let's right here. Let's fist bump, okay? It's good stuff. So that's where I was headed if I wasn't going to be drawing comic books. There was a little bit of a kind of this is it. This is all or nothing. And so I was able to break in, and here we are. 40 years of comics, now 5.5 years of this podcast. But here's the deal. I started collecting, consuming, being obsessed with comic books when I was 7 years old. And I have tried to take that journey with you. My first couple of years of my podcast, before we were on YouTube, I walked you very carefully through the events, the titles, the expansion of groups of comic book families like the X-Men. I walk you through how first they went into the crazy mad spinoff period where, Wolverine got his own miniseries, Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Magic. And then they realized, we would do better if we just took all of the efforts that are going on those separate projects and we would pour them into doing the X-Men twice a month. When the X-Men went bi-weekly in the late 80s, 1987, 1988, 1989, it blew up. It just blew up. And those were around such incredible storylines as Fall of the Mutants, Mutant Massacre, Inferno, those twice a week, Mark Silvestri, Rick Leonardi crushing it, just built the fever for the X-Men family in a way that it had never been before or since, really. I mean, because after Inferno, they stopped doing that really aggressive double shipping. Amazing Spider-Man started doing it in the summer. Todd McFarlane and Eric Larson were the guys bringing you those Amazing Spider-Man double shipped. Is that 1989? I think it's probably 1989. And fandom exploded. What do we want more than what we like? Double, twice a week. Twice a month. Double the frequency, double the shipping, and so it's stuff like that I've been able to walk you through with. I'd really be interested if you would like to tell me any of those old, just made for listening episodes. If you would like me to bring them back, because there is a rich catalog of stories that I've shared with you, and I'm gonna just as soon as I do these comics, I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna kind of open the door to a subject matter that was brought up to me at the comic book at the comic convention, San Diego Comic-Con, where I just wrapped up and I'm just slowly coming back to life. I think I did a podcast with a part one. I think I took enough smelling salts and what other chemicals that I took to do a first part of the show, because man, I was so out of it. I was beyond so out of it. And here we are together now, and we're doing part two. What's been going on with me in between the comic conventions and in the comic book making, and when I say that I'm there for the printing of the comic books, let me talk to you about Youngblood. There was a story that went live before the comic convention with the Hollywood Reporter, which talked about the success that we've had with direct-to-consumer. Let me tell you what direct-to-consumer for me was born from. In December of 2023, I was making a futuristic book of my extreme universe. Extreme was the line of books that gave you Youngblood Brigade, Bloodstrike, Prophet, Glory, Supreme, New Men, etc. All those books in the early 90s. That was under the Extreme family. That was my family of books. And so those characters, I wanted to do a futuristic tale, kind of how did this universe come to an end? The third issue is being completed. We did a spinoff that's already had one issue come out called Last Blood, The Final Stand. All of them are under the Last Blood moniker. So there's Last Blood 1, Last Blood 2, and then Last Blood Final Stand. And that issue number 1 shipped, and the next one you'll see is Last Blood Final Stand number 2. I just wanted to draw them and see if there was an audience for them. They were literally like making comic books for myself when I was a kid, which I did. 12, 13, 14, 15, I drew comic books. I had a team called the Aquamen. I had the Revengers. Everybody had superheroes that they were drawing. And I had, what was it, Volt? Something in Volt. Like, yeah, they were like 2 like electric characters. I mean, everybody had characters. I had the mighty Ion who became Die Hard in Youngblood. I've shared some of those pages online. Making comic books for yourself is just very quietly comforting. I wasn't trying to top the charts. I wasn't trying to connect with the masses. At one point, my kids, my adult kids, because I was penciling and inking a page on Christmas, and just FYI, my wife has repeatedly told me, she goes, Rob, I knew that you were in love with comics early in our marriage when I would come down Christmas morning and you were drawing a page and you're like, I just love drawing comic books on Christmas. I just love, it's like giving myself a gift. And she distinctly remembers me saying that. And now she has 30 years memories of me doing that, because if it's Christmas, I'm drawing a comic book page. There is no way I am not drawing a comic book page. I love it. I love making something on Christmas. So I was making a page from Last Blood, Christmas 2023, and my son said, Dad, what are you doing? And there's a new character. He's wearing a wife beater, and he has a headband, and he has a bow, and his name is Bo, B-O, okay? Bo, like Bo and Luke. And my oldest son said, Dad, what are you doing? Are those like recognizable characters? I said, I'm just drawing these for myself. This is just a comic book I'm doing for myself and my side hustle, my side time. We went live with that comic in January of 2024 on my live streams. And we've sold out 10 different printings of it. And we did the second issue in the summer of 2024, and the same thing happened. And then when it came time to do Youngblood, we decided to offer that to you guys so that we can get it out on the 33rd anniversary. I may have shared this before, forgive me. But guys, here are the books that we have, there have been all different editions. And when the Hollywood Reporter asked me, said, Rob, how much did you do? I said, look, right now what I'm doing on the screen is I'm showing you some of the different Youngblood editions that we did. Some of them are different Virgin treatments. Some of them are short runs. I'd go back to press. I had plenty of different art and covers that I had done. Here's the Golden Apple version. We're ending on the Golden Apple version. This one's we sold the absolute most copies of. That Golden Apple day of release, we signed for 6.5 hours, and the numbers are lost to me. But what we ended up doing with direct to consumer, and what I realized through Last Blood and Youngblood, is you control the entirety, not just the product, but the messaging. And you guys, I was in a comic store yesterday, and I asked for a comic, and they said, yeah, we don't have that. And I said, what is that? And they're like, well, we only order 2 for the shelf. And this is an Image comic. And it's not one of mine. It's not one of my Image comics. But so then they're like, but we can order it for you, and then it'll be here in 2 weeks. And I'm not sure I'm going to be there in 2 weeks. And, I get it. I understand it. So I'm looking right into the mirror. I get it. I understand it. The stores are being conservative. They want to maximize the profits on the stuff that it does sell, and they don't want it to fall into the ether. I'll tell you what's not selling are the stacks and stacks of current Marvel comics that are collecting dust. I asked my buddy at Marvel, I said, is it bothering you guys? And he goes, yes. We realize that we are at a low period and that we are no longer kind of the strength of the business. They are no longer the strength of the comic book business. DC Comics is now the strength of the comic book business. Skybound is the strength of the comic book business. And if Marvel is out to prove a point with Deadpool and Batman in September with how big that's going to be, well, let's all remind ourselves that Batman is 50% of that equation, okay? So DC Comics is giving you a tremendous assist in the same way that you'll be giving them an assist when they do their version of Deadpool Wolverine. But when the store is the arbiter of how comics can reach you, then you are really a slave to their whims, to the guy behind the counter who may or may not prefer your product, like your product, feel good about selling your product, whatever it is, check any box. Direct to consumer puts that with the creator. I'm the creator here. You're the creator. I can help you with this if you have questions. We go to our live streams. These are on my website. These are on my eBay live streams. They've been on my Whatnot live streams. And you guys gobble them up. We did this giant size, brand new, completely separate book. This book is not this book. They are separate comics. We have blown out of, I'm having to give up my personal stash and my buddy Dave, his personal comps, he's decided to give them because people want them so bad. But when I said that we had done $500,000 in sales on Youngblood to the Hollywood Reporter, I knew at that moment that that would become the headline, and it did. But it's 2 weeks later, and you can make that $600,000. This book is going to make $1 million. I did Deadpool Team Up 1 through 5. That represented 110 pages that I did in 2024. And I made $125,000 off that series. I get top rate. And when the royalties come in, maybe it's going to be $140,000, all said and done. We are going to do $1 million in revenue on Youngblood. And Youngblood has yet to go to the mass market. You're going to want this book. Daniel Warren Johnson, Ryan Stegman, Ryan Otley, E.M. Gist, Eric Gist, Scotty Young, Kyle Nagu, and several others, Mark Spears, have all contributed covers when it goes mass market, and there's going to be a slight tweak on some of the pages that get to you. We are doing different platform releases. Let me tell you, when direct to consumer is in full thrush, as it is on Youngblood, as it was on Last Blood, we're controlling the arena. And I'm going to tell you something. I watched this incredible documentary on Billy Joel. Maybe some of you are way past Billy Joel. Maybe a Billy Joel song hits you at some point in your youth, in your middle age. When I was 10, he had what at that time was his biggest single, and I didn't know it. I just knew it was a very pretty song. I said to Joy did not remember it as much. It's a very pretty song called "Just the Way You Are." It ended up being kind of the song that delivered him from 10 years of no hits. It had been about 8 years since Piano Man. And by his own admission on his documentary, Billy Joel, very accomplished singer, songwriter, performer, incredible musician, said, I felt like I was about to be kicked out of the business, that they were about to, his own words, they're about to put a line through my name. Like, Billy's done, we're done. He's difficult. He won't work with the Beatles producer. He won't work with Elton John's producer. He stuck to his guns. He made his own book. He made his own album. He even made his wife his manager. And Just the Way You Are was a monster hit. It was on the radio all the time when I was a kid. I'm going to tell you what this is all about. Just stay with me here. Following that, he had a song called My Life that became a big hit. He had his biggest hit ever called Still Rock and Roll to Me. He, during the course of this documentary, and it's 2.5 hour segments. Altogether, it's a 5-hour documentary, but I would highly recommend it. You will find out the life of a musician, the life of a celebrity, the business of the music industry, concerts. Billy, the critics hated him. I had no idea. All I knew was that his songs were on the air all the time. Maybe Uptown Girl or Tell Them About It or Allentown are the songs that resonate with you. Maybe it's In the Middle of the Night, which came later in the 90s. Maybe it's Pressure. Maybe it's any one of those songs. They're all at different eras. They're all in different years, spanning decades. But Billy finally punched through after 8 years. And then they show how the critics just tortured him. And they have Don Henley from the Eagles. They have Paul McCartney, Sir Paul McCartney. And they have John Cougar Mellencamp and Bruce Springsteen saying how the critics ravaged Billy Joel, were cruel to him, were terrible. And they showed some of at 10 years old, I tell you, I wasn't reading music reviews in newspapers, and I certainly wasn't buying Rolling Stone at that point. And if I was looking at the celebrity stories that my mom bought it for, not reading album reviews. But they massacred him. They would massacre him. He's chasing trends. He's trying to be new wave. How dare he try and channel Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons, or try and channel, the Spinners, as he did on his Innocent Man album, which is more, of a throwback with doo-wop songs. Great album, spectacular. Further on down the line, he ran into some financial difficulty. He had gotten taken advantage of, and he said, you know what, there are still arenas that I can book and fill, and I can make everything I lost back. And it showed how he just booked years worth of touring that allowed him to make his lost fortune back. Because as he said, he looks right in the camera, he goes, I'm carrying my entire family, families, extended family, brothers, sisters, at one point his mom, ex-wives, kids. And direct to consumer, we are the arena. We are the stadium. I'm not going to that stadium or that stadium. Direct to consumer, I am the stadium. You are coming into the stadium and interacting with me on my terms, and it's my box office. And that's really how it comes down to. In movies, there are all sorts of platforms now, platform releases. Even in television, there was a show that we really loved recently called Paradise. I hope you guys watched it. It was a really awesome sci-fi show. I think it was in February, maybe late January of this year. I called up my son, Luke. I said, Luke, you will totally dig this. He's like, Dad, we don't have Hulu. Well, right after it was done on Hulu, it did a run on network television on ABC. That's platform releases. Hulu, the streaming platform, then ABC, the network, they call it, what's it called? Over the ground. It's cable. They talk about wires. It's all these terminating wires in the dirt, in the ground, and then there's over the air. There's streaming. There's network broadcasting. Whatever platforming hits all of them. With movies right now, obviously, some stuff goes straight to video on demand. Then other stuff gets in the theaters for 40 days. Certain studios have different release schedules. But believe you me, again, the Deadpool Wolverine numbers, $300 million on between DVD, pay on demand, and streaming. We are in a platform world now, and my Youngblood comics, giant size Youngblood, which I'm holding up right now, and then whichever version of our April Youngblood release with this incredible paper, and we really do a great job. That's why I go to the printer. We get the highest quality gloss cardstock and some of the heaviest, most beautiful paper to color the richness of the colors and everything, all the texture that we're trying to get across to you guys. Direct to consumer puts us in control with the data, the results, and the interaction. I wish that every store would go aggressive on this, but some are going to be hesitant. So we're here to augment that. One guy said, well, is direct-to-consumer competing with me as a store? No. We want you to buy Youngblood for your customers. And that's going to happen in November. This entire platform release that I started in April will continue in November as it reaches comic stores with all those great cover artists generating incredible images that will hopefully spark your interest. Direct-to-consumer is really the story right now. If you join me on my Whatnot, Rob Liefeld is my name on Whatnot. You should get the app. You should download Whatnot and interact with me there. Or when I make an announcement to go to my website, as you can right now, to get Youngblood 2 in a very limited release. The second issue of this book is going to press in 2 weeks. And you'll be able to obtain that if you do a pre-order on my website, robliefeldcreations.com right now. Guys, this is where the goods are. I'm just telling you about them, but it is really helping change the business. Creators just want to be able to make the next job and use that money to put into more comic books, and that's what we're doing. That's what we are doing. I think I've showed you before. I probably don't have it here. I think I let it slip. The Bad Rock series is being financed on the funds from Youngblood. So hopefully you're digging it. Here's the Last Blood book. Here's Last Blood #1. This was just a blast to produce, and direct to consumer, you're going to see a whole lot more of it. Now let's get right into the teeth of Comic-Con and get to one of the things that I was discussing when I was asking about like past episodes and past subject matters and things that I could revisit. Again, direct to consumer has exploded for me. Has exploded for me. And we have put the books in the hands of people who want a fun, big, bold comic book story that is the kind of comics that I grew up loving. Okay, so we've kind of given that all the play it's going to get. But once again, when they lead with this story about the numbers, I feel like it's my responsibility to explore all of it and explain all of it with you and to you. And I'm just an open book. If you want to ask me questions, I'll tell you the stories. I'll tell you the numbers. There's no reason for me to hide, like, and not be completely forthcoming. And some of what I've touched on here, we're going to get to in this subject. A gentleman in line at Comic-Con. At Comic-Con, I signed 4 times. I signed Thursday, Friday, and twice on Saturdays. And we went home early for the first time. We had sold out of every piece of Youngblood, all the stock that we had, and our last signing was our signing for the Youngblood exclusive that Image Comics had, and only Image Comics had. And so we had that at the Image booth, and that was just a blast. Just seeing all of you and all of the energy that you were kind of giving, not just to me, but to everybody else who you were interacting with, all the different creators, all the people that you came to San Diego to see and to partake with and to have fun with and to learn about. And just like when I went with my dad in 1981, maybe you were meeting all of those people for the first time and putting their face to their art or their face to their, creations, whatever. A gentleman in my line on Friday, probably a little younger than me, but he came over to me and he said, "Hey, Rob," he said, "really love your show. I love the Rob Liefeld show. I love Robservations. And as I do with most of you, you guys have seen me in action. I immediately pivot and say, could you tell me what you like about it? I would love to know what you like about it. Tell me what you like about it. Because I would love to learn, what is it about the show that you enjoy?" He says, "I love all the comics history that you share with us. I love all the stories. I love when you bring the receipts and you read directly from the documents or from the interviews." But he said, "Rob, I love the beefs. I love the feud episodes. I love where you share like McFarlane versus Byrne, Byrne versus everybody, Byrne versus Perez, Neil Gaiman, Todd McFarlane, all that stuff." I said, "Oh, no. And here's the deal. I'm just going to be straight with you. Those are our best. Those are our highest rated episodes. Those are the ones that you guys listen to again and again and again. And generally you absorb the fastest because we can see that. We can see the line, woo, boom. You guys are consuming this." And he said, "Why aren't there more modern beefs? Like where'd all the feuds go?" And I said, "Buddy, they're happening all the time. If you were to have attended my panel at Comic-Con, and thank you to everybody who attended. That was so fun to see all of you. Standing room only, incredible turnout. I mentioned on stage, and I turned to Danny Mickey and Norm Ratman and Marat Michaels, who was right next to me. I said, "Guys, is the comic book industry competitive? Like, it's kind of hidden how competitive it is, and I'll tell you why. And you'll understand what gets me in so much trouble is I just don't care. I will talk. I will speak. I will share. Now, if somebody's asked me not to, then I won't. But if it's my own personal grist of the mill that I want to kind of churn, I'll do that. But the reason that the beefs have slowed is in the world of social media, which we are now in 2 decades into social media. If you think about the birth of Facebook, where we graduated from message boards and then went to the Facebook. If they had created the Facebook, then they would have created the Facebook. Great line from the Social Network. Okay, once we embraced Facebook, it was friendlier, right? But that didn't last long. Just like X, so nasty. X is so nasty, man. Going in there every day, man. You better have your freaking armor on and your mitts up, okay? No, you'll see. I don't argue with you guys. You guys want to dunk on me, do it. Have fun. I will not participate. Go back and forth. That's just giving volume to all the wrong stuff. But it exists. But when you get in a beef with someone else nowadays, if writer X gets in a beef with writer B, or writer X gets in a beef with artist B or artist B gets in a beef with artist Z, they're going to bring the neighborhoods. If it gets public, the neighborhoods are coming in, okay? People are coming out in the streets. They're getting out of their houses. They're grabbing their bats, their chainsaws, okay? They're loading. It gets ugly fast. And somebody could really, very publicly, get wiped out in public opinion. I'm not talking physically. All that was metaphor. Those are all metaphors. When I say they're coming to the streets in the neighborhoods, you know what I'm talking about. The gangs, the tribes, the gangs of the internet are going to pour out into the streams, onto X, onto Facebook, onto Instagram, and they're going to let you have it. La, la, la. You've seen some of the celebrities in the last year, they've had to turn their comments off. People who used to thrive on interacting with you have stepped in it, and they've shut that stuff off. They don't want to be, they don't want to have a multi-thousand thread comments of people telling them how awful they are, because that's what you guys can do when you're pissed. And was it 2012, 2011? I got into a beef with Scott Snyder, and I wouldn't back down, and he wouldn't back down, and I gained so many thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, probably the most productive. But I also, absolutely, the Snyder people were very angry with me. And it was called It's Not You, It's Batman. I did an entire episode on it about that and other people who get drunk on the fact that, Batman is somehow a measure of their success. Now, in Scott's defense, he has dug in a decade of James Tynion and Tom King and soon to be Matt Fraction and whoever else dipped their toe. Scott has solidified himself. I haven't seen a comic book creator a Batman creator as consolidated, as recognized, as sewn into the fabric of Batman since Frank Miller and Dark Knight. And I did not think I would see that ever again. He has absolute Batman is what did it. The stuff that he did early on with the DC 52 was great. It was fun. It did well. But then suddenly Tom King did well, and James Tynion did really well, and everyone was doing well. And it just seemed like the same thing all over again. But now Absolute Batman came at it from a completely different perspective. In a way that I got to tell you, if people had been honest with you, I was here a year and a half ago, prior to San Diego Comic-Con, prior to July of 2024, I told you I believed in Absolute Batman. I looked at it. I understood all of the levers that it was going to pull and the buttons it was going to push. And I thought it was the right book at the right time. And I'm on record as saying that 2 months before it hit the stands. And there were a lot of people who were still very much in doubt of whether it was going to have an impact. Well, that doubt has been washed away. After the recent episode that I may or may not remember doing with Comic-Con, a really big mail-order retailer, guy has a big mail-order business, contacted me and said, Rob, you were spot on about Absolute Batman. 1 through 10, all issues are absolute fire. They trade for double the cover price. Issue 1 is $45 nonstop. I guess issue 4 is super hot at $30, whatever. These are big numbers, and its sustainability is, you can't ignore it. It's the premier comic of the last 12 months. And it only came out like 10 months ago. So I'm jumping 2 months. I'm just going to give it the whole year, okay? Because it deserves it. And if you go, Rob, why are you into it? Well, you have nothing to do with DC. And certainly I don't want to draw Batman ever. But there's a wrinkle that you'll see soon about that. But Absolute Batman represents what's possible. Anytime something blows up and does well, we as comic creators should applaud it because it's doing well. And it's showing us a path. And we should be paying attention to all the new paths all the time. And excited about what is possible. And that there is an opportunity to take people by storm, to catch them off guard, to get people ridiculously excited. And whether it's James Gunn with Superman, one of the oldest characters ever, making him fresh and new on screen this summer, or Nick Dragotta and Scott Snyder making Batman fresh and new as they did last October and throughout the entirety of the year, that's also to be celebrated. That's really hard. It's hard to do. Those characters have been around. Anytime you can excite the base. And look, I had retailers who were telling me, Rob, I couldn't give DC Comics away last year. I couldn't give any of them. They're still struggling with some of the middle of the ground, but there is certainly a resurgence. What maybe Absolute Batman could not do in terms of go like further, maybe out 6 or 7 books and extend further in the line, the Superman movie has completely accomplished and put a light on Superman, Supergirl, the Superman family. So it's exciting. And why you, again, applaud that, why I applaud that is it shows what's possible. It should be celebrated. These are guys who I have no skin in the game. I don't own a single page of Nick Dragotta artwork. I don't have a script by Scott Snyder. I don't have any desire to draw Batman, but I can celebrate all of them and all of it. And in regards to beefs, there are other Batman creators terribly jealous of what they have accomplished. They're terribly envious and pissed and angry that their book isn't getting that nod. There's a lot of Batman books, as you know, but Absolute Batman has just completely run away with it in a very competitive year under some conditions that I believe that the game was rigged against them, where even me and my buddies would be like, why aren't they like Absolute Batman is the thing, but they would try and, lend their voice and put their weight, and then getting back to direct to consumer. I'm not selling these at 70 cents on, a copy. If I sell 300,000 of these and I'm getting 70 cents a book, well, I'm not getting $1. And guess what? That's not good business. 30 years ago, I got $1 a book on Youngblood at 1 million copies. Youngblood 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brigade 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That was 33 years ago. I was getting $1 a book. If we're selling comics at DC Comics for 70 cents because we want a greater ranking, get out of here with that. I don't see anybody selling Absolute Batman for 70 cents, okay? They're doing it at full retail. There's some crazy shit going on behind the scenes. The books that are going to come out 10 years from now. Trust me, there are beefs at DC Comics. There are beefs at Marvel Comics. There are, of course, beefs at Image Comics. Because everybody, all together now, I'm going to destroy your eardrums. As the Backstreet Boys says, I'll modify it. Everybody wants it that way, okay? I'm going to say, they all want it that way, okay? And that's the truth. The beefs didn't go away. They're all just happening behind the curtain, okay? They're not putting them on Twitter because, again, the neighborhood, the tribes, and the gangs are going to get involved. And when that happens, boy, is that ugly. You don't want that. So the gentleman who waited in my line and said, Rob, I loved your show. And I said, I put him on the spot. I said, what do you love about it? And then he said, Rob, I love the beefs. I love the beefs. I love the beef so much. But the reason you're not getting as many beefs is because people aren't going to go to town. They're not going to be like John Byrne, who has the mic and says, I got a problem with Jim Strong. I got a problem with Bob Layton. I got a problem with George Perez. I got a problem with Bill Mantlo. I got a problem with Marv Wolfman. Those are just 5 of the names he dropped in his famous 1980 Comics Journal interview that I cherish so much. I've got it in a Mylar magazine bag. The dude just went off. Guys like Barry Windsor Smith. Boy, those were some beefs. He took shots at me, at Jim Lee, at John Byrne, at Don Heck, at Jack Kirby. Barry Windsor Smith, and he just loaded that. Boom, 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 boom. Took all the shots, okay? That's likely not going to happen because in real time, see, Barry or John would give that. They'd speak it into a recorder. Okay, let's use my phone as a recorder, blah, 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 blah. Okay, then the guy goes home, typed it up, sends it to press. It comes out 3 months later. They've said it. It's over. Whatever. You know what wasn't going to happen? In real time, someone to go, hey, man, F you. Hey, what the hell's up with that? And in real time, because I'm going to go back to my beef with Scott Snyder in 2012. That's not you, it's Batman. And it wasn't even about Scott. Scott said, is this about me? And I said, it's not about you. He knows that too. I left my house when the beef started and went to my daughter's soccer game with my whole family as we watched soccer. And in between, I checked my phone. My follower count was exploding. and the exchanges and the interaction was crazy. And I'm doing one-liners with Scott. We were throwing one-liners at each other, insults back and forth. Eventually, we talked to each other and we settled it, and we're like, hey, let's cool it. And it all cooled, and it was a thing of the past. But in real time, I went from my house to the soccer field to lunch, back home, and we're having this giant battle. And it's fun, but it was in real time, and it was going off. I think now that's in the infancy. That's in like the first couple of years of Twitter. Now it's X, and now it's Instagram, and now it's Facebook, and now it's everything. So those beefs are going to be well hidden, unless maybe you open up your mouth and you say you're never going to work for Marvel Comics again, and those people are classless and should be ashamed. Hey, I did that, and here I am having the biggest success of the last decade, okay? Because you want to know what? I bust my nuts and I give you the comics that I think you want. I don't try and give you what I don't try and go to my analytics and my charts and go, well, what do we think? No, I just try and give you guys what I believe you want because it's what I want, because I love these right here. I love the comic books. I'm going to continue on with Comic-Con. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I love, as you know, if you've listened to 5 years of the show, I love Arthur Adams. John Byrne, Arthur Adams, seminal figures. Arthur Adams with the perfect commercial style. He started coming out to comic book conventions in Orange County in Southern California in 1982 and 1983. I'd see him. I'd see his little drawings. He's putting together Michael Golden, Barry Windsor-Smith, Mike Kaluta. Oh my gosh. Walt Simonson. It was all evident in his work, and it was blowing my mind. I did not know that this sort of comic book drawing could be achieved, and it wasn't out. It wasn't in publication yet. So I'd have to go and I'd have to buy some of his prints or some of the stuff that he had there so that I could interact with it, so I could take it home, so I could study it. I'm 15, I'm 16, I'm 17, I'm loving it. I got a sketch of Longshot in my sketchbook from Arthur. I was so thrilled in 1985. Just a giant fan of his, of all the work that he does. And have gotten to know him personally over, as you would do over the course of a 40-year career. He's been in it probably 45 years. So I came in, if he was starting to draw for them in 82 and 83 and started getting published in 85. No, he was published in 84 by Pacific Comics and some other independent comics that he had done short stories for. So yeah, I was hired 3.5 years later. And eventually, and Art knew me as the pest who would just drool over his art. Well, now we're adults. We have families. He's, married to the beautiful Joyce Chin, love Joyce. And so we were having dinner. Twice we encountered each other at dinner. One was an actual dinner with Arthur. The other one, his table was right up against our table. About 15 years ago, Arthur did an interview. I remember it was online. It could have been with Wizard Magazine. It could have been with like Comic Book Resources. But when Comic Book Resources changed over like 20 years ago, they wiped all of the old message boards, all the old articles. I used to write columns. I even did a review of X-Men 2000. I went to a preview screening and I wrote a review of X-Men 2 weeks before it came out. And I can't find it anywhere. It's gone. It's lost to the sands of time. But it was an online interview. And in it, Arthur Adams, who, come on, we're all giant Arthur Adams fans. He's got that brilliant style and approach to drawing. He said, when they said, is there anything that you would like to draw? And he said, I would love to redraw an old Jack Kirby comic, panel for panel, page for page. And as I'm reading it, I'm like, let's make this happen right now. Oh my gosh. And I just remember sitting there going, wouldn't that be great? And it fits with what's going on in the Arthur Adams space since the very early 2000s, is people, including some friends of mine, have commissioned Arthur to recreate popular images of Avengers comics, X-Men comics, Fantastic Four comics, Hulk annuals. I mean, I've seen all of them. And he does such a great job at it. You could only imagine that if he went in, because here's the deal, and Arthur knows this, he's going to redraw a Jack Kirby comic. Jack Kirby's staging, in most cases, is magnificent. You may tweak your camera or your poses just slightly, but the power of his figures and the mind with which he shot and saw storytelling and put it on paper. I mean, so much of the work is already done. You just get to go in there and just polish with your cool style. And it sounded like so much fun to me. And going to Comic-Con this year, I'm like, I'm going to get specifically, I'm gonna have him tell me again what it was. So I said, Arthur, I have a question for you. And he said, oh no. Because he's like, oh boy, what is Liefeld gonna do? And I said, Arthur, you gave this interview. And I literally expected him to go, get out of here. I didn't do that. That's not true. You're wrong. And I said, Arthur, you gave this interview. And they asked you what you'd like to draw. And you said, well, I'd like to draw this, but Marvel won't let me do it. And he said, no. I remember that. Boom, light bulbs. Oh my gosh, we're connecting. And he says, Rob, I didn't say they wouldn't let me do it. I don't even think I asked. I just wondered if they'd let me do it. I said, which one was it? And he said, it's Fantastic Four 25. Rob, I wanted to redraw the Hulk thing fighting. The whole issue. I'm like, are you kidding me? Let me see if I could get my, I can make it brighter. The whole kit and caboodle. What? Don't do that. So this is the comic that he said he wanted to redraw. And now I don't want just that. I want a bunch. I want to submit, like, let's get Arthur Adams to redraw a whole bunch of comics, a whole bunch of existing comics. Arthur Adams Draws the Classics is a comic I would buy every day and twice on Tuesdays. Okay, so it was great to get a follow-up. Maybe we should start a segment. And we just had it. It's called Did You Know? Did you know that Art Adams would like to redraw old Jack Kirby stories starting with Fantastic Four 25? At least that's what he said in an interview about 20 years ago. And then when I asked him, he confirmed, yes, Rob, I would like to. Because I think when you want to do something that desire is there, Arthur is one of the most booked up in years, advanced years, commission guys ever. I have friends who are waiting 12 years and they get status updates. Art's great. The stuff looks amazing. At the end of the day, it'll be forever when they receive it. He is one of the most in-demand, most popular, just most celebrated artists. And here's the deal, you guys, as we have lost Neil Adams and George Perez and Keith Giffen and so many of the greats, you know, Arthur is becoming kind of the after you get John Bernhard Chaikin, Jim Starlin, and Walt Simonson, kind of the four biggest names of the Bronze Age that are still rocking, then you're immediately entering into the Art Adams kind of. I've always talked about like Art Adams, Rick Leonardi, Kevin Maguire, Mike Mignola. These guys came in. None of them were terribly monthly guys, not in the way that we would be afterwards. I mean, you know, to do from New Mutants 86 to X-Force 10 is about a 2.5 year run, and then right into Youngblood. I mean, I've talked about it. Arthur's most productive period was across a section of comics that he drew for 3 years, but they were all released in 1985. Longshot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, New Mutants and New Mutant Special Edition, and then the X-Men Annual that concluded the Asgardian Wars. And Longshot 6 ended up being double-sized. Just an amazing run, just an incredible run, but it was never duplicated again. But it took 3 years, but when it dropped, you didn't know it. If you weren't like me and seeing him on the circuit and watching these jobs get done, you wouldn't have known it. All you, and I envy you, you got it in this succession, this incredible year that announced the arrival of this transformative artist. He had the most impact. He is the most significant of that group. Rick Leonardi did a lot of work. Yes, he did a lot of Cloak and Daggers, and he did a lot of work, but he doesn't have a other than the Cloak and Dagger body of work. It's hard to kind of pin him down. Yes, he did some Spider-Man 2099. I know that. You don't have to tell me in the comments. It's that long, extended period. Those X-Men fill-ins are great, all of it. I have an entire run of everything that Rick Leonardi has ever done. He's certainly, over the course of his career, been the most prolific of those of that grouping, and certainly Mike Mignola used to do these regular miniseries, and Kevin Maguire had maximum impact when he was coming out every month when the Justice League was launched. but there is no question that Arthur had the most impact. And the fact that he confirmed that he did want to draw, let's call it an old-timey Jack Kirby comic from the 60s. And it just, man, I would like, look, so just this morning I had my OMAC, One Man Army Corps. It's my favorite body of Jack Kirby work. It was probably his least received, but it was the most out there whack. But I love the warrior figure of OMAC, OMAC. But it stood for One Man Army Corps, and I ate it up. I was looking at 2 different issues today, saying I would redraw this. I would completely redraw this. It would be so exciting. So let's file that under Did You Know? Did you know? Now, wrapping up my Comic-Con, other than doing some great signings and seeing some great people, the most significant is my third annual year, the big dinner. Myself, Robert Kirkman, Joseph Loeb III, this year joined by superstar writer Brad and author Brad Meltzer, Corenthal, Corey Walker. It was a blast. Getting to chat up Brad Meltzer. I used to watch his, mystery history, secret history show. Was it on Nat Geo or was it on the History Channel? I was glued to it. I used to text him, Brad, I can't get enough of this. And when it was canceled after 3 seasons, I was shattered. You guys, he did so many. My favorite is The Spear of Destiny. And Brad even confirmed, because it has so many kind of ties into comic book stories, it kind of gets the comic book guys going the most. But Brad has all manner of novels. The funniest thing, I've read Brad Meltzer comic books, and my wife has read Brad Meltzer novels. So Joy was so excited, and you may know Brad from so many of the books that he does with Chris Iliopoulos, who was the letterer was the letterer on X-Force, who has now teamed with Brad to do all of these incredible books that they do together. But Brad Meltzer has written The Book of Fate, The President's Shadow, The 10th Justice, The 5th Assassin, Dead Even. The dude is so, probably was the most accomplished guy at our table. In the comic book world, you would know him best from Identity Crisis. And that was a seminal book that really helped shape and first turn around DC's fortunes back in the early 2000s, right as Jim Lee was doing Hush. Brad Meltzer had Mike Turner covers. It was exciting. It starts with a terrible murder and then unravels from there. I don't want to, if you've never, we're going to have to do an entire episode on Identity Crisis and the impact it has, because retailers immediately go, yep, I remember selling oodles and oodles and oodles of that. It caught word of mouth fast. The Mike Turner covers were fantastic. People just went nuts for that book. But whether it's his novels or you know what I didn't, I skipped his books with Chris Iliopoulos, and that is that's just an out and out crime. Let me for those of you who may not, it's like impossible. There's no way you don't know who Brad Meltzer is, but Brad is just, what a sweet guy, and it was so fun to share time with him and hang out with him at that dinner and really talk to him for the greatest amount of time that I'd ever shared, because that's what these dinners are about. We're kind of all done, and we're just checking, kind of catching up with each other. How's your show? And I mean, just a staggering amount of accomplishments, and the work that he has done with Chris Iliopoulos. These I just got Art Adams to confirm it is okay. That is me saying I'm about to go live with this. Okay, guys, you got to see it. This is the best. It came through while. Okay, it comes through while I'm gonna hold this up. So it comes through while I sent this. He just sent that through. You saw it in real life. It is. He He confirms my question. I just wanted to get it right. I love this guy. Love this guy so much. Brad Meltzer, Chris Eliopoulos, they do those who is books. And that is so great that Art's confirmation, because I had already talked to him about all this stuff. You guys, this is the fun part about taping the show, and then to have him sign in right now, answer me right after I've done it, because I said, hey Art, I'm going to go live and I'm going to mention this. I just want to make sure this is the book that you identified. Super fun. Just want to get these right. Here we go. Brad's books for kids, baby. I am books. Okay? Just give me these. Come on, don't give me a hard time here. There they are. Here they are. Look at this, turned into a Brad Meltzer infomercial, and you didn't really know. I am Neil Armstrong. Have you seen these books? The I Am books with Chris, and I mean, it's they've done everybody. You guys, they have literally done freaking everybody. Chris did little cartoons like this for me. I'm on the website right now. I'll show them on one of the upcoming episodes because I've kept them all. He did. I wanted to see if there are any on this bulletin board. There are some upstairs. Chris and he have I Am Rosa Parks. Let's see. What else does he have? I Am Neil Armstrong. You guys, they've just done so many of these, and you should definitely look into all the stuff that Brad and Chris have done, as well as he's one of the best thriller novelists, one of the best smartest minds. And when he took that incredible novelist, best-selling mind and put it into the DC universe with Identity Crisis, people just exploded. But whether it was sharing stories with Arthur Adams, sharing stories with Robert Kirkman, sharing stories with Joseph Loeb, what a blast. Brad Meltzer, Joyce Chin, talking to Corey Walker, having some great laughs. And you know what was discussed at that table? Beefs that I cannot talk about. At least 4 beefs that I'm not involved with. Guys, beefs, I'm telling you right now, to land the plane, go full circle, at that table, beefs were discussed. Beefs with different talents in comics, and I just laughed. I know from some of my convention buddies, guys who throw conventions, and there's a lot of them, and they talk about beefs. There are people who will be like, I cannot be seated next to that guy. I cannot be in the same room as... You guys have no idea. So back to the guy who asked me, Rob, where's the beefs? They're behind closed doors. They're well hidden because nobody wants to get the neighborhood involved, okay? Because then things get extra super duper crazy ugly. So it was a beautiful way to end with, I mean, honestly, guys, if you don't think that when I'm sitting there, I'm like, I know Robert, he's my buddy, but he's such an accomplished guy. Invincible is such a massive hit on the heels of Walking Dead being a massive hit. The Energon Universe, Transformers, Robert Kirkman is the maestro of the business right now. Corey Walker knows that I've been a fan of his since the minute Invincible hit. I'd never heard of him. I grabbed Invincible. I've been slobbering all over him from 20 years. He'll tell you, oh, Rob gushes over me. Wait, like too much. Like it bothers him. I love his work. I love him. Joyce Chin, she's been just putting out fantastic work for the 2.5 decades that I've been aware of her. No, more than that, 30 years. Arthur Adams is like one of the greats of all time. Impacted each and every one of all, like myself, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, Eric Larson, Jim Valentino, Will Spartaccio, everybody. The most influential guy walking any comic book floor is Arthur Adams. And it needs to be said, and it will be said as long as I'm around. I'll be saying it because it's the truth, okay? Joseph Loeb, Captain America White, Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, Superman for All Seasons, Batman Long Halloween. Just a tremendously accomplished dude. Captain America with your boy Liefeld here, okay? So great way to top it off. Maybe next time I'll show you all the stuff I bought. I've already mentioned I bought some Treasury editions. I bought some older comics. I bought some X-Men artwork. Yep. Not in San Diego, unless that's happening, okay? Thought I'd get some commissions from some of my buddies. My sketchbook of 30 years did not make its way to the floor. It never left, because I'm like, man, once I hand it off, then you got to chase it. And this show was so crazy. As I said in the first part, just ping ponging all over the place, going to the Marriott, the Hyatt, the Hilton, the actual A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H halls. Craziness. But what made it worthwhile was seeing all of you and hearing from all of you and sharing all of it with you. My retail buddies, they crushed it in the conversations that I've had in the days since the show ended. My buddies, I mentioned him, Jimmy J, crushed it. Game plan that show, had exactly what everybody wanted at the last minute on Sunday. And then, what's great is bringing all your inventory in, and I can speak to this because we brought all our giant size Youngbloods in. Now, everybody who ordered one on the floor got one. Then there were some orders online that people were like, well, I ordered too many, so then we ended up having a few left over. But we've thrown those on the Whatnot show on our live streams, and those have disappeared. So it's nice to bring several boxes worth of comics and leave with a handful. And that's what Jimmy has. Two big giant islands, end caps. Together they're islands. All the end caps he has spread out. And some of the other guys, the Bronze Age dealers, the Silver Age, the Golden Age, the art people. I heard from the our art people. I'm going to tell you right now, I heard it was a little slow. The thing they always say is, well, the big international buyers didn't make it. Well, I'm not sure why. COVID isn't happening anymore, and I don't want to hear that they don't want to come to America. Give me a break. You know what I did? I saw some big French and Italian buyers that I see each and every year. They were there. They got in the plane. They got here. They flew here, and they went home. Okay, they didn't get jumped. Okay, I think the prices on all the art has skyrocketed. Couple of you guys, and I appreciate you so much. So many of you guys in the art world do blow up my DMs. You have my text. You guys talk to me. We talk about what we buy, what we share, the different prices that we pay for stuff. Talk to Heritage at length. Talk to Heritage Auctions. And there may be a podcast coming from a podcast soon. You'll know what that is when it hits. It's very interesting. The owner, the head of Heritage, has turned out to be a really sweet guy, a friend who, Jim Halperin, very, very, just great guy. Bent my ear, told me some stuff, shared with me what was going on. It was really nice. And got his perspective, got Heritage's perspective. We talked about all the stuff that Jim Valentino has come up in the upcoming auction. There's my Shadowhawk cover I inked over Jim. Some Guardians of the Galaxy covers I inked. Todd McFarlane inked. Some great covers that Jim had from Bill Sienkiewicz, Mark Teixeira. I mean, Jim's got some really good stuff that he's decided to put into the auction. It's going to be really excited to see where that all comes out on, and how that all performs. It's going to be really exciting. The original art market, it feels like there's a lot of stuff that we've all seen. At every one of the 5 major art guys, they all had stuff I've seen the last 5 years. And for whatever reason, the prices keep going up, not down. And I did have a discussion with one of the art dealers. I said, look, I'm going to tell you my perspective is that you want this buried on top of you. All of these pages you just want to be buried with. You don't want to sell them. You bring them, but you don't want to sell them. I don't believe for a minute you want to sell them, because they're here with you every year and the prices go up. And I even said, what is the difference? Why is this spectacular cover at this price, which is an incredible kind of a semi-crazy price? Why is this $30,000 than this cover? And then he struggled to give me his rationale. But I just said, look, dude, it appears to me that you don't ever want to sell any of this. You just tease everybody. You never give any sort of, they're not even like auction prices. Let me end this entire episode talking about auction prices. If your clients aren't doing it at auction, then it's really, and of course there's an aggregate. Maybe your guy has a page that does down here and one that does over here. Well, then we balance that, okay? The auction prices, the closed prices, the historic prices. If I go on Heritage right now, and if I had juice in my phone to do it, and the patience with you guys for me to open it up, put my password in and open it, I would go to the highest selling Rob Liefeld, the recent, they list the highest selling pieces, starting at $960,000 for the interior page of New Mutants 98. Then you're going to bounce around to several in the 100,000s, and 90,000, and the aggregate, continues. But then suddenly you're like, wait, because I'm telling you, my stuff has not been in abundance. As far as my peers go, Todd and Jim have had maybe 3 times the inventory put through the auction houses. What Jim Halperin says is, Rob, people are sticking with your stuff. They're not releasing it. But I believe in the next 10 years, we're going to see a nice, healthy amount. But as far as you and your clients and your base, a lot of you guys are doing private sales because if those things make it to auction, you're not going to get the prices that you're actually asking for them in private. And it is the auction I learned the hard way with stuff that I collect and stuff that I buy, whether it's Jim Starlin, whether it's George Perez, Michael Golden, Art Adams, or of course, John Byrne. It is the auction prices that determine the value of the art and the artist long-term, not your private sales. To tell people, that sold for a record price, bullshit. It didn't sell for a record price unless you put the price out. And then we'll determine. Put the price out. I'm giving you numbers. I'm telling you that right now, it's not 500,000. We're at 600,000 on Youngblood, okay? And it's going to go higher. It's going to go to 1 million. And I'll tell you when we ring that bell. I could say, we're doing record sales. I didn't say record sales to the Hollywood Reporter. They came to me. They asked me a number. I gave them a number. I'm on air as these sell out. Boom, 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 boom. We fill them up. They gone, gone, gone. Fill them up, gone, gone, gone. We did 30,000 on one of our San Diego comic live streams. $30,000 in business that night. Boom, boom, boom. Comic books. Selling comic books. Signed and not signed. A lot of the art market is trying to sidestep the auction because they don't like the prices that they're getting. The auction prices are what people will publicly look up and measure your work against. And can I say that here from a very positive space? I can. There was a page of the New Mutants with Blob on it that I thought was going to go for 6,000. It ended up closing at the hammer 18,000 with tax over 20,000. But the hammer price 18,000 for a page of the Blob. It's a great page. I think it's one of the best Blob pages you're ever going to find. It's one of my favorite pages in my entire New Mutants run. But that thing, what does Ron Burgundy say? That escalated quickly. Okay, fun times. But in the art world, it's the auction prices that matter, not your sign that says this sold for a record price behind your booth or what you're asking for that price. The closed auction price at Heritage, at Comic Connect, at Comic Link, at Hakes, that's the stuff that people listen to. That's the stuff that they measure by. Guys, thank you for another great episode. What a fun time. I love talking comics. I love talking comics with you. So much fun. Looking forward to all the adventures that we have ahead. New York Comic Con's coming. I've got conventions and stores that are calling me. I may be going out on tour again. I'll tell you here first and foremost. But there's a lot of comics history we're going to get back to. We've done the Comic Con wrap-ups. We're going to get back into some stuff I like, some stuff from history. You know that the Bronze Age is some of my most favorite stuff, but there's stuff in the 90s, there's stuff in the 2000s. We're going to continue to dissect and connect and discuss all of the different aspects of comic books and comic book history. And we're going to do it together, and we're going to do it right here. And I just thank you so much. When I am not here on the show talking to you, I am all over social media. Please follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now it's Elon's X. I am Robert Liefeld, ROBERT Liefeld with the blue check mark, signifying I am the real deal. I am the genuine article. You can talk at me. You can talk back at me. You can dunk at me. I'm just not going to get involved. But the friendly interactions, those are fun. Those are fun. I love hanging with you guys. I love sharing links, sharing stories, promoting stuff. I love hearing from you guys. Again, but the dunking and the trolling does not get entertained. Good luck. That doesn't happen. Robert Liefeld, ROBERT LIEFELD with a blue check mark. That's me. Look forward to seeing you over on X. On Instagram, my virtual and visual diary where I put everything, what I'm eating, who I'm hanging with, my vacation spots, the art that I'm drawing, the stuff that I'm collecting, the people I'm stuff like the convention. I put that all on my Instagram. Rob Liefeld, ROBLIEFELD, the simple version of me, with a blue check, signifying, again, it's really me, the real deal, who's reading your messages, your DMs, your comments, your mentions. Thank you so much for interacting with me. Instagram is so much nicer. I even talked to my buddies in the business today. I'm like, why is Threads so much nicer than Instagram? They're like, Threads is a extension of Instagram and of Facebook. And I'm like, oh, I forgot. X is the mean place. So mean, okay? So mean. Like, funny mean. But Instagram, Rob Liefeld, I will look for you there. Catch me. That's where you're going to get the latest and the greatest for me. We have a group on Facebook. I would love to invite you to join. Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond. Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond is the name of our group. We would love to have you. We are having great art contests, great artists. I'm about to select a couple more for different cover assignments, and look forward to dealing with those very measured and balanced people in the process. We talk comics, we talk pop culture. Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond, myself, or a gentleman named Terry Sala, Sala, will be the one who clicks you on through, who approves your posts. Each and every episode of the Rob Liefeld Show and Rob Observations gets its own dedicated thread for you to comment, interact on. We would love to have you there, love to see you. I check in multiple times a day. I love hanging with you guys. We have such a great community. We do not allow trolls or trolling. That stuff is gone immediately. We do not tolerate anything but the very best, finest, kindest behavior. So Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme Beyond, I'm on Facebook. I will look for you there. I can't wait to see you. I already mentioned Whatnot, my live streams. Follow me, Rob Liefeld. Get the app, download it. Whatnot is where it's happening. It's more than comics. It's trading cards, it's jewelry, it's shoes, it's kicks, it's sports gear, it's memorabilia, it's everything. It is such a transformational, incredible piece of technology. Just the software, hardware aspects of it alone are just mind-blowing. But I love it. We've been doing it 3 years now. We had our 3-year anniversary last week. I will continue to show and share with you. I'm going to show them right now these exclusives that you can only obtain when we are going live, and they always seem to blow out, sell out. We've got new stuff all the time. We've got t-shirts, toys, Funko Pops, action figures. I share original art there from time to time. This one is the one that just completely blew up. We love sharing these comics with you. I love the community that we built because it's so fun. So many of you I did get to see and meet. So many of you. Yes, we even have the delicate foils, and see, that's a chisel signature right there. That's a chisel. Sometimes I put an extra color behind it. It becomes a drop shadow chisel, and then I do the blood splatter. Okay, that's one of our giant size foils with some of the new characters. So check us out. Follow Rob Liefeld and Whatnot, and you'll be alerted when we go live, whether it's a Wednesday night, a Saturday night, a Tuesday night, whatever. You'll be able to follow us and join in. We will look forward to seeing you there. Guys, gals, everybody, thank you for hanging with me. I just want to wish you all the very, very best. It's summer. It's August. We're in the last month. This makes me very sad. Every day that goes by now, I'll be a little scared. It's ending. Summer's ending. It freaks me out. I love summer so much. I love these long days. This is my magic time. You guys, get off the hamster wheel. Get off the treadmill. Get off the grind. Don't let it grind you. Don't let it wear you down. Take time for yourself. Make yourself a priority. I just want to know, and I wish for you the very best with you emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Take that long walk with your partner. Share that milkshake with your friend. Have that great date. Go see that movie. Watch the streaming show. Read a graphic novel. Read a comic book. Have a candy bar. Have a Reese's Big Cup. Have an ice cream sundae. After this show, I'm going to tell you, I'm having a sundae. I'm having an ice cream sundae tonight, okay? It is inevitable, just like the fact that we're going to talk again, but we're going to get that in a minute. Take care of yourself. Spend time with other people. Let other people carry you up, carry you and build you up. Guys, we are all carrying crazy burdens. It is crazy pants out there. The headlines each and every day, the agendas, it's nuts. It feels like sometimes that nobody's rooting for each other. Everybody's rooting against somebody else. We're rooting for you. I am rooting for you. I hope that you are doing the very best that you can possibly be doing. Take time for yourself. And get right and get rested, okay? Two fist bumps into this Blue Yeti microphone, wishing you all the very best. Do not leave me here. Do not strain me. Come back. I'll be right there, right out there, waiting for you. We will most definitely, absolutely, inevitably, we're going to talk again real soon.